Hi, this is Mike, and welcome to my presentation on exploiting text as an object of study. In this presentation, I'll be demonstrating Activity 7.2 from our textbook, Translating Phrases. This activity is designed for a monolingual classroom where the teacher is proficient in the student's L1. My intended learners are adult native Spanish speakers with a high intermediate English proficiency. The text I chose is called The Rise and Fall of Blockbuster Video, which I also used in another module this week. The article discusses how Blockbuster once dominated the movie rental industry, but eventually collapsed after underestimating Netflix and failing to adapt its business model to evolving technology and consumer preferences. Because of the length of the text, I've included only excerpts in the following slides, but you can access the full article through the link posted on Canvas. Hi class! Does anybody here like to watch movies? Oh, you all do. Well, I do too. So how do you like to watch movies? On the TV? Do you like to go to the movie theater? Some of you said TV, some of you said movie theater. I like to watch it at home. I like to stream movies. If you're watching movies at home, do you use a streaming service or do you prefer DVDs? Okay, it looks like most of you like to stream movies at home. Do any of you use Netflix? You do? What is Netflix? Yeah, that's right. It's a app where you can watch movies on your TV or your phone or your tablet. Does anybody remember a store called Blockbuster? I'm old enough to remember Blockbuster. I used to go to them to rent movies, but you know Blockbuster's not around anymore. Anybody know what happened to it? That's right, they went out of business. So today we're going to read an article about why that happened. I'm going to give each of you an article to read on your own, and then you'll be paired up with a partner, and the two of you will answer some questions about the article from a handout that I will give you. And then we'll come back together as a class, and we'll use our Spanish to focus on some of the language in the article. Okay, everybody's got a copy of the article, and everybody's got a copy of the handout with some questions. So before you get started, let's just go through these questions so we all understand them. First question is, what kind of business was Blockbuster? And then answer this question, what does the article mean when it says Blockbuster dominated the home entertainment market? And here the word dominated means to rule or control something. What was Netflix's key difference from Blockbuster's business model? And if you're wondering what a business model is, it's just a plan that a company or a business uses to make a profit. Why was Netflix's streaming model more appealing to customers? What mistake did Blockbuster make in the year 2000? And what might have happened if Blockbuster had adapted to streaming earlier? And to adapt means to change something to make it suitable for a different purpose. So go through the article, take some time to answer the questions on your own, and then meet up with your partner and go over these questions together, and then we'll reconvene and we'll talk about them. Okay, so let's talk about some of the answers we got for the questions based on the reading. What was Blockbuster? Yeah, it was a home movie rental business. You could go into a Blockbuster store and rent tapes and DVDs to watch at home, and then you'd return them by a due date. And what does it mean in the article when it says Blockbuster dominated the home entertainment market? Yeah, that's right. It used to be all over the world. No business like it had that many stores. I think it said like 9,000 stores in the article. Everybody knew Blockbuster, but nobody liked having to return the movies, and they hated the late fees. So Netflix took a different approach. They used a different business model. They would send the movies to you, and there were no late fees. So why was Netflix's transition to streaming so successful? Well, that's right. People could watch the movies instantly with a click. They didn't have to wait for the movies to arrive in the mail anymore. And what was Blockbuster's fatal decision? Yep, that's right. They had a chance to buy Netflix and they passed it up. Can you believe they did that? Can you imagine what would have happened to Netflix if Blockbuster had bought it out, or if Blockbuster had transitioned to streaming sooner? Yeah, it's possible that Blockbuster would still dominate the home entertainment market today, and we wouldn't be talking about Netflix. So let's use our Spanish to focus on some of the words and phrases in the article. I'm going to dictate some translations to you in Spanish, and I'd like you to find the corresponding English text in the article. I'll give you some time to work with the translations on your own, and then I'll have you collaborate with your partners. And when you do, see if you can come up with some other translations that might have been possible. So here we go. 1. El ascenso y la caída. 2. Para los que crecieron. 3. En su auge. 4. Tarifas por retraso. 5. Enviar los DVDs por correo. 6. Los clientes se alejaron en masa. 7. Muy conocidas. Y 8. La transmisión de video. Okay, let's talk about these translations. El ascenso y la caída. Anybody able to find that in the article? Yeah, because right at the title, the rise and fall of Blockbuster Video. How about some alternative Spanish translations for rise and fall? La bancarrota, bankruptcy. Well, that's quite good. That really is kind of the essence of what this article is all about. La subida descenso. That's more literal, and it makes sense here. Next one. Para los que crecieron. Crecieron. Crecer means to grow up. Yeah, right here. For anyone growing up in the 1990s, the blue and yellow Blockbuster sign was an iconic part of the weekend. How about alternative translations? Para aquellos que crecieron, muy bien. Para ellos que hayan crecido, muy bien. Next one. En su auge. ¿Qué significa auge in inglés? Yep, it's like the peak, right? The máximo. At its peak in 2004, the video rental company dominated the home entertainment market. Another translation in Spanish for peak. En su apogeo. Muy bien. La próxima, vamos. Tarifas. Late fees. Tarifas por retraso. Sí, late fees. How else might you say late fees in español? Recargos. Cargos por mora. Sí, muy bien. Continuamos con enviar los DVDs por correo. Where do you think this is in the article? Enviar por correo. Posting DVDs, like mailing them in this context. Netflix transitioned from posting DVDs to streaming video streaming. Well, the translation, echar por correo. Very good. The next one, los clientes se alejaron en masa. Clientes are the customers, right? Yep, customers left in huge numbers, choosing the cheaper and more convenient streaming options offered by Netflix and other new competitors. Other ideas? Los clientes se marcharon en masa. La base de clientes disminuyó enormemente. And how about the next one? Muy conocidas. The stores that had been a familiar sight in every town began to close down one by one. Here it's like means that everybody knew the stores. They'd see them all over town. So another way to say that, una vista familiar, or they were tiendas bien conocidas. And let's try the last one. Streaming, la transmisión de video. It now operates mostly as a tourist attraction, a nostalgic museum reminding us of a time before streaming. Another way to say streaming, bien, sí se puede, la emisión de video. Okay, so the purpose of this activity was to draw your attention to phrases and chunks of language through Spanish translation to aid your comprehension. You can use this activity on your own to select and translate phrases for yourselves, because learning vocabulary is a big part of learning a second language. And here's some strategies you can use to help you along. Look at the context of the word. What are the words around it? Sometimes that can help you discern the meaning. Look up the translation in Spanish, similar to what we did today. Look at new words every day and keep a vocabulary journal. Write sentences using the new words. Draw or use pictures to connect the new words to meaning. See if you can associate the words with your own experiences. Or cover up the word and try to recall the word from Spanish. And you can always quiz a partner on new vocabulary. That's my presentation. Thank you for listening.